Hello, it's not Sunday. It's not Sunday. So I think it's really funny. I was looking at my desk here and I have Mr. Hanky. It's interesting foreshadowing that long before I was ever sick, that this guy was part of my life, Mr. Hanky, right? So it's funny that I now have built my career around talking shit all the time. So yeah, I've had this for a very, very, very long time. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. I guess that is kind of a funny thing about me. Somebody asked me recently on the podcast that I was on, a quirky thing about me, and I guess I've got Mr. Hanky probably for a good 15 or more years now, long before I was ever sick with Crohn's disease. So it was poo foreshadowing is what this was. Anyway, so I'm really excited. Actually, I'm very nervous. I'm always very nervous when I do these lives because being in front of a camera has never been my forte, and any of my friends can tell you that it was like, Unique is not into being in front of the camera, having my picture taken. I prefer not to do that. So, all right, so Jane is going to be joining me today to talk about her journey on the Bean Protocol and how it has helped her. So I'm really excited to her sharing her story. Jane started with wanting to, let's see here. Let's talk about all of what she was looking to achieve. Well, for one, having better energy. She has Hashimoto's, and she had erratic and irregular periods. And, oh, thank you. Thank you. Somebody's giving me a compliment and I'm thanking them instead of deflecting it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And then, irregular period cycles and PMS. So she had goals, and she actually did my online program. Some of the clients that I have on my live, I work with more one-on-one for longer term coaching calls, and then other clients of mine do my online course, and Jane did my online course. So she should be joining us any minute now. I'm so excited to see everyone joining. Thank you. I'm excited. And if you do throw some questions up, we'll try to answer them. A lot of times with these lives, I love my clients just to really share their journey and versus trying to figure out menstrual migraines. No, somebody's asking me about PMS, including menstrual migraines. Hers, I don't remember that being part of her journey. So let's see if there's any migraines in there. I have worked with a lot of women actually who get really bad migraines around their cycle. So that is something that you can work on with the Bean Protocol. What prompted this live is Jane sent me this incredible update that she had her first 29-day cycle, and normally her cycles were anywhere from 40 to 45 days consistently. So, okay, somebody's asking me a question. I'll answer questions until Jane arrives. Serious sugar and caffeine cravings. Yes, 2 weeks. That usually lasts for a couple of weeks. And usually in that 2 weeks, unless you weaned off, cold turkey sugar, but I don't recommend anybody cold turkey caffeine. It's just too hardcore of a drug. Your body will just go through intense withdrawals. I actually recommend weaning off of caffeine if you don't want to hate your life for a couple of weeks, and you're still going to have about a 2-week adjustment period. So that's something to consider with getting off caffeine. I do have some clients who wean on to decaf and then slowly kind of get off from there. So I'll keep answering questions for you that have. Oh, you're welcome. I'll keep answering questions. Oh, there's Jane. Wait, no, not yet. I don't know where she is. Hopefully she'll be joining us soon. You should get a suggestion to join my chat. Let's see here. Hey, Amy. Amy, Nice to see. Amy, you're going to come on my live, right? You're going to share your bean story, right, Amy? Yes. Oh, somebody's sharing that quitting caffeine is the best thing they've ever done. I agree with you. Oh, hey, Jane, did you? I think you just need to request to join me. I think when you... Yeah, decaf isn't suggested on the Bean Protocol because, again, it's an adrenaline kick. And, oh, you are going to come on, Amy. Yes. Yes. Amy is awesome. Amy, you've been on the Bean Protocol for a while. So you would be a wonderful person to talk about it and kind of, you know, all of it. What I love about these lives are people have an opportunity to be real about the Bean Protocol. There is no prep that goes into these calls. Really, my clients are allowed to share their absolute story and how they feel about it and how they started and if they struggled. And, you know, I want it to be as down home and real as possible. So whoever is getting into it can no, you're not way too chatty. You'd be awesome on it and real. Awesome and real. That's what it's about, right? It's us supporting each other from a real place. Yes, there you are. Versus like a pretend place of like, oh my God, everything is amazing. Yes. Jane is joining. Yay, Jane. I love all of my Bean people. It's such a fun community of open-minded people. I know I already love you because you're open-minded enough to start chowing beans, you know? Like, that's pretty special. Jane!
Hello.
Hello!
How are you? Sorry.
It is so nice to meet you.
So nice to see you, yeah.
In person, I mean. Like, I know
That's
you.
what I mean too.
Yeah. So it is what, 8 a.m. for you
It is. It's 8 a.m. in Sydney.
in Sydney? A place that I would love to come to one day when we're no longer a petri dish in Los Angeles.
Definitely. You're very welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, I hear incredible things about Australia. Actually, that is my bucket list, is to just travel everywhere once COVID is gone. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone's just waiting to get out. It's definitely promoting a fair bit of cabin fever.
How are the actual, like, how is it in Sydney? Because I have clients in other parts of the country that are saying it's gotten pretty bad, but how is it in Sydney?
I think just by sheer luck, not because we're doing anything different from the rest of Australia. I think we have sort of pretty much kept our numbers very, very low. So it's pretty much business as usual in Sydney. People are wearing masks, but otherwise, and of course, there's quite a bit of social distancing, especially in the hospitality industry. And but apart from that, yeah, it's not. Our hospitals are not overrun with COVID cases or anything, which is really, really fortunate.
Yeah, here it feels like weirdly business as usual, but I'm pretty sure our numbers are not good. So
yeah, no. I've sort of read between the lines that that's the case, yeah, in the States.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of weird because I wear a mask everywhere just because, you know, I feel like, all right, why not? I don't want to, if I'm a silent carrier, as they say, I don't want to put anybody else at risk. So,
yeah, I think it's evidence-based to wear a mask. So I think that's the right thing to do.
I like to do the right thing. You know, for being not a rule follower, I guess in this case, I'm such a rule follower. So, so how long have you been on the beans now?
So I think it's been, I mean, I like to sort of like hard bean protocol as opposed to soft bean protocol. It's probably been about 5 months now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But when I say soft bean protocol, I don't think I did it with as much gusto in the beginning.
Yeah, you eased into it.
I eased into it. That's it. Yeah. So probably 7 months in total, but 5 months, like I say, you know, doing it really to the T.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And did you notice a big difference from the 5 months of doing it to a T than before when you were just kind of like messing around with it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it is.
I love that you said that. I love that because I think it really does give people an idea of like when you're messing around in the shallow end, you know, did you feel like you got some results though, still messing around in the shallow end with the bees?
I did get some results, but I think sort of reading your, what your clients were saying, I sort of started to be like, I just don't think I'm getting where I should be getting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so it was, yeah, I did get some results. I think I had some sort of improvement with my gut, but I don't think, yeah, I wasn't there. So yeah, it was important, I think, to sort of do it properly.
Yeah.
It's really something you can kind of do half-ass.
I have a lot of clients who are like really trying to be the role model for half-assing it. They're like, I'm going to get amazing results while I half-ass it. And I'm like, hey man, that's amazing if you can do it. But I haven't seen that, you know, where it's like, usually when they go all in is when the real shifts happen. So share, share with
Yeah.
us your shifts. What
Okay.
have you noticed? What have you gotten from the
Well,
Beam protocol?
I heard about you and Karen through the Expanded podcast with Lacey, and I really identified with how the reason why she started. So hormonal imbalance. I probably had hormonal problems since I first got my period.
Mm.
I have, I had really bad cystic acne all over my face, back and chest as a teenager.
Mm.
Um, and then I always had irregular cycles from as far as I can remember, and really bad premenstrual symptoms from as far back as I can remember. And they have probably the irregularity of my cycle plus the symptoms have probably worsened as I've got older.
Mm.
And I've tried everything. I mean, I am a doctor, so I do believe in, conventional medicine. So I did go to many, what you call OBGYN, we call obstetrician and gynecologists,
Okay.
and family doctors about it. And I tried, what the traditional methods of solving hormonal imbalances are, going on the oral contraceptive pill. But to me, it worsened everything, like it exacerbated the symptoms. And to me, given I thought there was an imbalance or potentially an overproduction, or I thought it's so strange to add more hormones when, there is potentially excess hormones in your system and that's causing the problem. So that didn't work anyway. And yeah, and I've seen naturopaths, I've been to acupuncturists, I've done everything. I really have. I mean, my family and friends could laugh about it because I really have tried everything, and diets. I've tried all different kinds of diets with that. And also I have had tests that have indicated that I should have polycystic ovarian syndrome, um,
Mm.
which is caused by hyperandrogenism, which sort of makes sense given, the symptoms of irregular period and everything. But I mean, I don't have the insulin resistance and, the excess over being overweight, but
Mm-hmm.
I do have some symptoms of that. So yeah, so with all that combined and hearing about Lacey's story, and to me, do you call it a rogue diet? What do you call it? Something like that.
I mean, it is a little wild and off the beaten path for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
You have a word though, I can't remember. But yes, for me, given the amount of things I've tried over the years, it didn't seem entirely like crazy. And also, reading up on it and having done physiology at med school, I know about the enterohepatic circulation, and knowing that, I do have excess androgens and probably an estrogen imbalance. So getting rid of the hormones is what I need to do. So
It's great that you knew. It's great that you knew the hepatic recirculation because I think for a lot of people, and it's interesting. As a doctor, do you find it interesting that nobody has contemplated that pathway before as a elimination pathway for toxins and hormones?
yeah. I mean, I do, like, I talk to my friends who are in OBGYN, and I'm like, so listen, this is what I think, what can we do with this? But no, I don't think so. And I wonder, just like anything, like, is it because there's not like, it's not a big money maker? Like, should be, but like, do they, is it just not research because it's not, it's not going to make the pharmaceutical companies lots of cash? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Conspiracy
I,
theories,
yeah, but I know what you're saying, because it's a lot more lucrative when people are sick than when people are well.
totally.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, and this sort of like, women have, are whinging about their PMS kind of attitude. It's kind of like, yeah, like, I'm very functional. I'm definitely not, haven't been really sick with any of these problems, but it still does impact your everyday life. So it is something that is, to me, was something worth trying to sort out.
Yeah.
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 But
And I have moms right now coming to me with their 14-year-old daughters, and I'm just like, yes, because at 14, I think I got my period at 12, and I was in so much pain and suffered so much. And I look back, and my parents were really holistic, so they really gave me a lot of gifts. But had we just been eating beans, even if there were some fats in it, like, I would have probably course corrected instead of having gnarly endometriosis, just like incredible, massive overproduction of hormones going on. And so when I have these moms who are coming to me with their daughters, I'm just like, yes, like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the same about my cystic acne. Like, could that have been, better managed with, yeah. It's anyway, who knows?
Yeah.
So hypothetical, but yeah. So, but on top of that, I also had, I've always had a sensitive gut. Nothing like, your actual irritable bowel disease, but I've always had this sensitive gut, which has worsened, and so slowly over the years, I've had to sort of, take out different things from my diet, which is just annoying. And just like, it's just always been like, I feel bloated after I eat certain foods. And then in my residency, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. So, yeah, I'm on thyroid medication for that. And again, I wonder whether that's all linked. I certainly do think there are studies to correlate autoimmune disease with stress. I do have autoimmune disease in my family, and I know it has a genetic link, but I also think that these studies don't say it's causal. But I do think it's a very stressful time being a resident, and potentially that was correlated. So all of those things together, and reading about the diet, I was like, it's worth a try. So that's how yeah.
I love that you were open-minded with it, and I love that it made sense to you. Like I said, I think that you understanding the hepatic recirculation, probably just that alone really clicked that this would be possibly something that could really help you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm very into Eastern and Western medicine, and my dad's, we call a general practitioner, but also what you would call a family doctor, but he's also an acupuncturist. So I think it's in my family to sort of have those sort of integrated beliefs, which I think is good. And I'm also a purist, like putting more like naturopaths and would prescribe, with all due respect, would prescribe, supplements, or the doctors would prescribe pills. And I'm just a purist. I don't want to put more, I want to take things out. I don't want to put more in,
Yeah. Yeah. And just to me, that is what I loved about this, because I came off of working with a functional doctor and on a gazillion supplements that were just rolling right through me because of Crohn's disease, right? So I was literally just pooping out thousands of dollars worth of supplements and vitamins, and
But we also don't have the capacity to absorb that many supplements. If you do have a gut that is functioning correctly, we're all just chowing down so many vitamins that our bodies actually can't absorb, and it is just a bit of a money making scheme. And I think, yeah. So yeah.
So where are you with all of your symptoms now? Like after being on the protocol for 7 months,
Yeah,
7 months?
yeah.
Um, and what at what month did you notice a big shift where things were like, wow, this is absolutely shifting in my favor?
Yeah. So like I said, I started off soft. So you and I had our initial meeting, and you were sort of like, you need to eat beans 6 times a day, and I was just like, I cannot do that in my daily life. Like seeing my job is very busy. Seeing patients, I'm just like, I cannot be chowing down beans. This is, so I was like, maybe I could just do Husk. And the other thing is, I've I've traditionally eaten like a fairly like, and this is probably to my detriment, like a low carb, high protein kind of diet, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably very fiber. Uh, this is all, it makes sense. So I, changing to this, and I also don't really eat breakfast, fasting, all this stuff. So I was just like, the thought of putting like legumes in, like chowing down on legumes first thing in the morning, I was just like, I can't do that. So all this stuff, I was, there was this resistance, like I can't do that. So I was like, I'll just do husks. I'll do a fair bit of, plus the beans at like main meals, and then I'll just do husks in between because that's easier. And I did that for 2 months, and just even, like I've heard your clients talk about transition symptoms, and I just was like, they're not really getting transition symptoms. I just didn't really feel like it was uh, working. So then I was just like, right, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to eat the beans and just like have them right so I can, between patients or between work, just eat them quickly. And that's when I started to really get the transition symptoms. And I think I emailed you like when I about 5 weeks, 4 weeks into that, I think like really starting to commit. I think I emailed you and I was just like, what the hell? I cannot do this for much longer. And you were like, oh, people with hormonal issues often experience these transition symptoms for a while. And I was just like, this is not viable for a
Yeah, you're like negative, negative.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
somebody wants to know your transitional symptoms. Do you want to share your transitional
So
symptoms?
I was really, really bloated. I experienced quite a lot of water retention, I think. Like I felt like I was just like really bloated, water retention, gassy. Yeah, just feeling very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And you were just like, keep going. It'll get better. And I was like, oh gosh. And literally maybe like a week or two later, um, I those symptoms dissipated. But not only did they just go, like weirdly, just like kind of overnight, it was just like they were there and then they weren't. But then it was like my gut was just this new gut. It was crazy. Like it was so, I never get bloated anymore. And this is years I've been experiencing this for years and years and years. And so I never get bloated anymore, no matter, what I was eating or whatever. It was, my digestion was just so functional again all of a sudden. And I was amazed. So that was about what, 6, 7 weeks
Mm.
in.
Mm.
I was, even if I put aside, at that point, I was like, this is amazing. This really works. And even if my hormonal issues didn't solve, I was like, this is worth it just so that my digestion is sort of back to normal. So that was really extraordinary for me.
Mm.
So that's a real turn at that point. But then after 3 cycles of my period, and my periods aren't normal cycles, but after 3 cycles, that's when I had, a 28-day menstrual cycle, which I probably haven't had in, I don't know, 10 years.
Mm.
So that was amazing. And it was literally after the third cycle, on the fourth cycle, it was back 28 days, which was extraordinary. I was just like, oh my goodness. So
Amazing.
it's really great. And since then, yeah, definitely premenstrual symptoms have dissipated like quite a lot. And yeah, just back to a more regular, normal cycle, which I've never known. So that was great. Like really, it felt quite magical.
It is so magical, something so simple. You know, most women I work with when they're really young, they're started on birth control pills. And it's
Yeah.
just because like that's what their friends are doing. And some of them don't even know why they're getting on it. And they don't even know what kind of period they're going to have yet when you start that young, you know. And then at such a young age, you're already injecting a whole different hormonal conversation into your body. And I remember in high school going, oh, I'm going to try this because mine are so painful. And the doctors were like, do this, your painful periods will be gone. And I just remember it made everything worse. I did it for like 3 months and I was like, never again.
Yeah, definitely. Same with me. It really exacerbated everything. It kind of gave me PMS all the time.
Yeah. And yeah, I was angry and bloated all the time. And I'm kind of happy it didn't work for me, because I think what's even harder is if you do have horrible periods, or if you just don't notice it, because then you can be on it for 10 or 15 years without ever knowing where your body's hormones are, you know?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm very grateful that it just I could never
worked.
Yeah.
Amazing. You're kind of the shift between playing around with it and doing it 100%. Incredible how different the change was for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And also the other thing to mention, and again, as a doctor, I can't say that this is definitely caused by this, but I also started to get hyperthyroid symptoms after about 3 months, which means that and I had a blood test about a week or two ago, and meant my thyroid medication was too high now, the dose I was taking. So it means that probably for whatever reason, and I'm not going to 100% attribute it to this, but it seems likely. My thyroid's functioning better, or potentially there's less inflammation. So I've been able to go down a little bit on the dose of my thyroid medication, which is awesome, because it's just been trending up since I've been diagnosed. The dose, which kind of is always a bit disappointing when you're a pretty healthy, I'm very healthy in diet and my lifestyle, and then you're just like, where's all the inflammation coming from that's causing my thyroid not to function? So it's just, the dose was trending up, so suddenly now I'm on a lower dose of that, which is,
for whatever reason, I'm really excited.
Yeah, exactly. And that, again, like I said, I would recommend everyone, you have to be monitored and remain on your thyroid medication, and
absolutely
by a doctor and everything if you were to go on the protocol. But and I said to you, and you were very honest in the beginning when I said, do you think this will help with my thyroid condition? And you said, I don't know, but it's possible. It's possible it could decrease inflammation. So that's a big added bonus too. Yeah.
I know my place in the world. I peddle nutrition and fiber, and I'm not a doctor. And whenever somebody asks me if they should get off their meds, I always say, why don't you get on the protocol? And if you want to wean off, that's a conversation you have with your doctor. I don't recommend anybody cold turkey anything to start a protocol. This is a nutrient dense whole food diet that supports the body rebalancing, but everybody's body is different. And in my journey with the Bean Protocol, I was very monitored by a doctor because I was severely ill with a severe autoimmune disorder. So I wanted to heal naturally. I was dedicated to healing naturally, but I didn't do it by rejecting the medical world. I did it in relation with them and together. And I found somebody who supported that journey. So I recommend everybody be very responsible with it.
Yeah, and I really respect that about you. You're very, you are very respectful of both worlds, and I love that. Yeah. So
thank you. Did you have to stop anything to start the Bean Protocol? Like, was there anything that you had to cut out or ultimately get off of when you started the Bean Protocol?
I fortunately had already got off caffeine. I'd gone to this retreat last year, and so there wasn't going to be coffee there. So that had been a really hard process that I'd done the year before. So I wasn't really drinking coffee. My diet was pretty restrictive, I have to say already. So not entirely. I mean, it was just to me, the change in eating legumes, like I've never eaten legumes because I found them to be so, they just never agreed with me. That change in my diet was a very big contrast to how I was already eating. But no, not really. There wasn't really things I cut out. Maybe like alcohol, fruit was the one big actually. So not eating fruit was that was a big change. Not that I'd eat a lot, but I'd eat maybe a piece of fruit a day. So yeah, a shift, but it wasn't so far removed. And that was the thing, that I found so frustrating with all of these health issues that I had. I was like, I'm so healthy. And I've heard your other guests say that. But also the other thing I should be honest about is I've heard your other guests, they're so amazing. They're like, for 8 months, I didn't eat one thing off the. I'm not like that. I'd have a glass of wine here and there. I'm not. I can't be that diligent. But I'll say I'm 95% diligent. But yeah, there was times I have things I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think some people, I was a person who struggled on the protocol, so I really relate to the little cheaters out there because I was a little cheater, and I'm pretty sure that for my particular disease that I lengthened the time I was on the strict protocol because I was just up to no good, and then when I did finally go all in, which is why I love sharing the all in story, is because that's when my healing accelerated. And when I really stopped, and when I mean I was up to no good, I was literally would be like taste some of my daughter's food or whatever. And because it was off protocol for me, my gut would just fall apart. And it was the moment I realized how incredible the human body is, but imbalanced, incredibly sensitive. And it was hard for me to really take that because I'd spent my life being healthy and resilient, and to be suddenly not healthy or resilient was really, it battered up my ego, and my mind was just like, how is this possible that my body is so sensitive? Like, how is that possible? So it was a real humbling experience for me. To this day, I'm probably anywhere from 100% to 95 on the protocol every single day of my life. And I don't wake up and go, oh, I'm going to be on it for the next 15 years. I wake up and go, I'm doing this today. Again, this is amazing. I love it. So on the days that I run out of beans, I'm like, oh, I'm out of beans.
I'm just saying that.
Damn it. I love them. And I love that every bean comes with its own little nutritional profile and nutrients and cofactors and minerals and vitamins, and eating my vitamins has made the biggest difference in my health personally. So yeah, I love it. So do you want to share with everybody what you do eat every day? What is your bean protocol? And I do want to state that everybody's bean protocol is slightly different. So not everybody's doing the same thing.
So I wake up and have husks in water. Just the first thing I basically have when I wake up. And then I literally just have beans, cold beans, in the morning.
Awesome. Animal style. That's animal. You're an animal. I do that too, by the way.
I'm just not a breakfast eater. It just doesn't, you know what I mean? Eating, whatever. So I just have cold beans after an hour or two, I have that. And then again, I just have some sort of beans around like 10 or 11 a.m. And then at lunchtime, I have some sort of legumes with vegetables and generally fish, like salmon, something like that. And then often in like if I'm having beans in the afternoon, I don't get round to having other snacks, like enough food. And then for dinner, I might make like dal, or I might, a lentil soup or something like that, or and have some level of protein, or I might just have like cook protein and vegetables and just have some sort of legumes on the side. So yeah, that's it's yeah, that's kind of relatively what I eat most days. Like, and then in days when I want to have like peanut butter and gluten-free bread or something for breakfast, those days I just sort of eat the beans around that. So just sort of take the beans out around that. But I sort of try to eat, like not be so restrictive that I'm just that I'm not enjoying my food. But you just have to sort of work around it. Or days when I can't eat beans, I have husks. I have a little baggie of husks that I take with me. Yeah, so it's sort of and if I'm going out for dinner and there's not like a beans sort of thing on the menu, no worries. I just eat before I go, or husk before I go. It's so now I'm sort of in the rhythm of it. It's not too much of an imposition. And I really like legumes now. Like I really enjoy them. So it doesn't really phase me in the slightest. And my friends laugh because they're always like, do you want to have? And I'm like, I'll just have some beans. And now like they literally ask the question as a sort of hypothetical when they're offering me some food, and they know I'm just going to say, I'm just going to have beans. I'll have beans.
Well, I love that you have people in your life who can A, have fun with you, and B, support you. Because I do think that, the hardest thing for me was being around a bunch of people who didn't understand and didn't really know how to support it. And then you just feel weird on top of being named Unique. So it was like, my name's Unique and I eat beans. That's awesome. So that's really cool. I'm so glad I'm doing this. So it's nice. It's a great, and you're confident with it, which makes all the difference in the world. You're like, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing right now. And because you've tried so many things, you're kind of a pro in that department. So
Definitely, I feel like I'm definitely a pro in all the different diets. And also, but just to me, it's just like, it makes sense to me. It's backed by physiology. It all, to me, it's not so far reaching that I'm like, this is crazy. To me, it's just like, this is how most of the world eats, and it's it makes sense to how our physiology works, and hormonal elimination works. So it's not it's not something I find to be too rogue.
that's actually my question. Somebody asked it, but I was going to ask, do you feel nourished? Do you feel vital? And do you feel like you get enough nutrients from doing it?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Like, I feel I've always had lots of energy. I'm not someone who's, even when I've had Hashimoto's, kind of just makes me feel like my usual self, but kind of walking through honey. Like, I get exhausted from it in a weird way, but I'm not someone who's, lacking in energy, but I do feel pretty energetic from it. And I think, I definitely feel like I get enough food in my day. I don't feel like, as opposed to other diets I've done, fasting or anything, like I never feel hungry. And probably my blood sugar levels are, again, I haven't tested them or anything. Yeah, so this is just me speaking from, thoughts or anecdotally. I feel like I'm more level throughout the day. I don't have these peaks and troughs of feeling like really hungry or anything like that. And so I feel like I get a lot of nourishment. I mean, I have historically eaten vegetables and stuff like that, so I just still eat all of those with the beans. So I think it's definitely ticks all those boxes of getting nutrients for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So, well, thank you for being brave and coming on and sharing your story and on a weekend. And is there anything that you would tell anybody who's starting the Bean Protocol?
Uh, I would just say start it. Like if you feel that you have any sort of digestion or hormonal issues, I would just say, yeah, begin. But also, I do think you really do need to commit to it, and just in order to receive results. If you want to see the results, it's just a matter of committing. And once you get into the rhythm, I don't think it's a difficult diet to be on. Really, it is quite easy, and you won't be hungry, and you'll feel really good quite quickly. Like I say, the transition period felt a bit excruciating, but that is only a month, 5 weeks of your life, and then from there, you will see hopefully results. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And please keep me posted as you go. I would love to continue to be on your update list for your updates on everything, all things, and any troubleshooting you ever need. And thank you again so much for doing the Bean Protocol.
Oh, bless you. Yes, so lovely. So lovely to meet you. And yeah, thank you.
So lovely to meet you too. And I hope you get all the people in your life eating beans.
Yeah, I am. I know your like second rule of the diet is like, don't tell people you're on the diet, but I do.
Good. I love that. I'm glad that you do. I mean, I think I had like at the time in my life, I'm not shy about it now. I definitely don't wear it on my sleeve because I'm a little oddly spiritual about it. I'm like, those who need it will find me kind of thing. Or those who are ready for it will find me. So I don't want to impose my ideology on anybody, but I know how incredible it is. But I also know how the transitions can be difficult. And I know how there's a lot of information out there that kind of damns beans to hell. And, again, I peddle nutrition, not medical. So yeah, I'm just always really excited when people find it and want to do it.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Have an incredible day.
You too, Unique. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.